Hey everyone, and welcome to the Twitch studio here in San Francisco. GoldenBoy and Bravo here. Although we're not wearing our usual caster uniforms, we figured we'd show you guys something really cool today. Now, of course, Bravo coming all the way from Seattle. Such a long trip. Such a long trip.
No, I was super happy to get on an early morning flight this morning
Yeah.
to come down to the Twitch HQ. This is my first time here in the Twitch studio, but you guys have a pretty awesome spot. And today, of course, is the first day of our pre-beta testing of Halo 5. So
Yeah.
we're running some stress tests. We've got about 2.5 days of beta gameplay going on right now, and the purpose of this is we're actually jumping to the first time that spectator mode will be shown in an official capacity. If we want to actually just jump straight into the gameplay,
Let's go.
let's jump on board with Heinz. Right now, we're watching the first ever implementation of the basic spectator mode that's going to be included in the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. Right now, you're watching professional player Heinz from CLG. As you see, he's got that new BR in hand. And it looks like, let's see, on his team, it looks like Heinz is actually alone right now. Doesn't have the CLG guys with him just yet.
Yep.
But right now pushing in. His team is off to a little bit of a lead here, playing on Empire, one of the maps you'll be seeing. But as I was saying, purpose of this pre-beta stress test is to make sure that everything is good for those of you who purchased the Master Chief Collection, to make sure that the beta is ready to go on the 29th. So this is features limited content. You'll see a little bit of the week 1 content in this pre-beta. It'll be a pretty quick period, but we thought it'd be cool to start to talk about the gameplay and also show a little bit of it ahead of the beta. So that's why we're here, and as I said, we're checking out the first implementation of spectator mode. Now it's a little bit right now lightweight, but what you can think of it as is a live theater. What we're actually doing is we're sending the actual game film to the cloud. If you look at Heinz now snapping into third person, picks up that headshot. See if he can swoop in here and pick up that last kill as well. So GoldenBoy is getting his hands on the spectator mode.
Yeah, check this out.
Right now, as he can go to free cam, as you see, and then very easily snap back to first person if so desired. Yeah, it looks good, but the controls are going to be really easy for you to pick up. When you do get your hands on the beta, many of you, of course, playing on the 29th, if you've used theater before, spectator mode is going to be really easy to use. You just cycle through players with the D-pad. You go from first person to third to free cam using the Y button, and as you see, you can kind of cycle through players, and you'll get all the information on the screen. Also, if you hold the back button, GoldenBoy, you can see, of course, you get a full scoreboard. You have the kills, assists, and deaths right in front of you anytime in the match.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. For me, we've done a lot of Halo events.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of Halo events, and when we were told we were going to do this stream, for me it didn't matter whether or not like everything was there just yet, because it will be. I mean, I had a chance to talk with Quinn a lot about this, and he's very ambitious about what he wants to do. It's very cool stuff, but just to have this basic implementation of spectator mode, for me, kind of just like opens up the doors for so much, right? I mean, one thing that was always cool about other communities is how they're able to produce content online, and obviously Twitch is a content-focused company. One of the things we want to do here is empower our partners to be able to create awesome freaking content. And with this, now you'll be able to. You'll be able to, be that guy who wants, like Jaywalk, right? Let's give Jaywalk a shout out here, right? He's done so many amazing tournaments. Now he'll be able to stream these tournaments with the spectator mode. Like that kind of just opens
it's
up
super exciting.
so much.
Oh yeah, exciting for us right now as Heinz is swooping in, trying to clean up a player there. You see using the thruster pack. Throughout the stream today, we'll talk about some of the new Spartan abilities that all players have within their loadout. New mobility suite right there. He finally gets taken out by a grenade to switch over to a player on the red team. But I mean, it is pretty exciting for us too, of course. You and I have both been in the competitive Halo scene for many, many years, and to have all of this, we have 8 POVs in any camera angle we want on the map, running off of a single Xbox, right? And all 8 players, of course, in different parts of the world. So it's pretty exciting for us as well. You see Heinz using that, kind of chaining those together right there. He used the thruster pack to the clamber. So, of course, whole new movement suite in Halo 5 Guardians.
Yeah, so to kind of cover a couple of these things, where you're going to see Heinz do here, the clamber mechanic added in. One thing that the guys at 343 were adamant about was that you could still crouch jump. You could still do your business with crouch jumping. Clamber just adds more movement mechanics. One of my favorite things about this game, to be honest, is when I first got my hands on it.
Someone's windmilling. We'll switch back over to
Joe,
Heinz.
bless you, child. One of the things that kind of caught my attention was I'm a sucker for speed. I just, the fastest you can go. We're not gonna look at Joe. We're gonna look at
We'll
Hazel.
see what Hazel can do here with the sniper rifle in hand. This is the first time we've had a look at the sniper rifle. No, don't die. Don't die.
I live.
There we go. All right. No,
Oh,
finally gets taken out.
come on, man.
Let's see who picks that up. Let's see. There's still a battle going down over here. So finally, that grenade. We'll see if someone has the sniper rifle in hand. And here it is. It's Gaming Vio. But yeah, so this is the brand new sniper rifle, of course. Looks and behaves similarly. If you get shot, of course, you will be unzoomed. You will be descoped right there. So he's a DMR combo and the sniper rifle here, trying to put in some pot shots across the map. Looks like he might pick up that kill, and he does. But yeah, so here's a look at both the new sniper rifle as well as the new DMR. But like you said, GoldenBoy, I mean, it's exciting for us to be able to put on, first of all, even just this first look. This is the first look at the beta itself, as well as Spectator mode. And we say it since we announced the beta, but it's exciting to have a beta. This is the earliest that Halo's ever had a beta in history, right? We're many, many months out from launch, so like really excited to get player feedback. We want to know what players think of the game. We want to know what everyone thinks of everything from Spartan abilities to the new game modes to the maps, and of course we want to know what broadcasters, Twitch broadcasters and commentators think of the Spectator mode. What kind of things would we like to see? I know you and I were even just having a chat earlier talking about some of the things that we want to add to the Spectator mode, and of course we're going to be bugging Quinn about those for the next few months.
For sure.
But
if there's one thing I know, it's Spectator modes. And there you have it. Victory for the blue team. Hines and crew. Looking real good there. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of, and let's just go ahead and shoot back. So again, like as you can see, right, early implementation. Let's jump back over to us here, because it is treated as a live theater, right?
Yeah.
And this is so cool. I could just. I don't need.
I saw the first. Yeah, we fired up Spectator mode here.
I don't need like a touch screen anymore with like pushing buttons.
Yeah, I was talking to Josh Holmes. We're actually going to have Josh Holmes as well as Strongside.
That's right.
On the show later, they're going to be joining in from Seattle on Skype. We're going to ask them a bunch of questions that you guys submitted on Reddit. But I was talking to Josh Holmes last night before I flew out, and I was telling him, I mean, what they've done here is they've saved upwards of $30,000 to $50,000 of hardware, cabling, and wires to be able to do this. I mean, it's really exciting to have Halo join the FPSs, that have Spectator mode. I think
that's right. It's very exciting.
Halo has a rich competitive legacy, and it's really incredible to see what we're going to be able to do. I mean, even just I saw Puckett last night tweeting that he just had learned that the game had a basic implementation of Spectator mode, and he said he's going to be casting all night. So really excited to see.
Shout out to Puckett, man.
Yeah, really exciting to see what. Of course, everyone also at Twitch, you guys have so many top entertainers and broadcasters. Excited to see what people can do with this tool. But yeah, we should also talk a little bit about the gameplay as well. I mean, you saw some new stuff in that map. We saw a little bit of the thrusters being used. We saw a little bit of the clamber. We didn't see a few things though. We didn't see anything like Spartan charge. We didn't see ground pound. So we're gonna keep looking at. We have some streams coming from the CLG guys, Hines, and that crew, as well as the Evil Geniuses crew is going to be jumping on later.
Yeah,
so the top two teams in the
CLG
HCS.
guys are trying to match up together right now. Hines is trying to coordinate the boys to get everything going.
Sometimes it's tough to wrangle those programs.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, he's like, well, since I'm waiting, I'm just going to jump into games. So that's basically that. And then, like Bravo said, we're going to have Evil Geniuses later today. It's going to be Lunchbox, Roy, Snipe Down, and Towie. Pistola won't be joining us. And, yeah, the exciting part, we're going to have Josh come in here for the Q&A.
I'm really excited about that.
A bunch of questions.
We've got a ton of questions. We got to make sure we can
get them all in.
Yeah, so we're getting word here that the volume is a little bit low. If we want to check out the volume levels just on our audio as well as the game. So thank you guys. Keep letting us know in the Twitch chat what you're hearing. But yeah, I went to Reddit yesterday. Got to give a shout out to our Halo community on Reddit.
They're awesome.
Just one of the many awesome Halo communities that's been a huge help to me. Of course, as community manager, I think since launch, the detailed bug reports they've given us and everything with the Master Chief Collection has been an immense help, and as we continue to resolve the issues that we're seeing in the Master Chief Collection. But what I wanted to do is head over to the Reddit community and ask if anyone had questions about the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. Right, that's why we're here today. So we have a long list of questions. I think we can start stabbing away at a few of those now. One of them, a question is Nintendo Dan asks, in Spectator mode, how long is the delay for spectators? And right now in the beta, what you'll see is that after a player finds a match, it's about 30 seconds before you'll be able to spectate, around that time. And when you do begin spectating, you'll actually start at the beginning of the match. So there will be that full 30-second delay. It is not a true live spectate mode just because of, you don't want to allow players to see live gameplay, all the things that come with cheating and the exploits around that area. So if a player's on your friends list, you can go ahead and just jump in and spectate game. It's actually quite simple. From the roster menu, you select their name, and as if you were going to go view a file share or player details, you just select spectate game, and all of a sudden you're in.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very easy thing to do. You know, if you have friends who are playing right now, you can just and you're you know, part of the beta, obviously the preview, you know, the early pre-beta. You know, you could just jump in. You could jump in and look and take a, you know, I guess gander at the spectator features for yourself. Again, it's really cool. It's really early, but I think the fact that this is even something that is a thing.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's a
for
big
me
deal for us. Yeah.
so awesome.
And I think, I mean, give me your honest opinion too. I mean, if being familiar as you are with the controls, I mean, does it feel pretty fluid?
Yeah, no. So I think like one thing in particular that is jarring is the switching with the D-pad, right?
Right. I think we need to. Yeah, there's certainly some things. I think talking with the team, being able to hold the back button and select a player.
That
to jump,
too,
I think
or even kind of like bringing up the option, right? Maybe using, since you know the cool thing is, you know, with the controller, right? We have so many options, right, with the button layout. So being able to maybe use like L trigger and then bring up something.
Sure, yeah.
You know, that was something to kind of reference, very popular in like a game like Black Ops 2, right? You hit R trigger and you're able to bring that up, and you're able to access everything. You know, those kind of thing. And I know Quinn really wants to like implement these things in there. Right? Like guys, I had a long conversation with Quinn about Spectator and how this can be implemented, and he's very. We actually have a snake bite.
Let's jump into that. Cool.
Yeah. So the thing is, you know, CLG is just not coordinating here. So we're just gonna give a CLG player love,
despite the fact that they were very coordinated at Iron Gaming.
Yeah, right.
They can win a $15,000 Halo event, but
they can't seem to, you know, play the game together.
But regardless, we'll jump into games. Then, like we said, we're going to be jumping on board with players from CLG.
There was another cool question, by the way, that I feel we should.
I think we can jump into the gameplay in just a second.
Yeah,
we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're ready to go here. So and again, just to kind of give you guys like an idea, right? So you see, it's like a live theater, right? There you can you just hit X and you're pretty much good to go as soon as the game starts. And there you have the perspective of the player. Full scoreboard available to you, right? So it seems like Snakebite's going to be playing solo here, going up against a couple guys. Actually, go ahead and hop over to Snakebite's POV. But yeah, I think it's great, right, to just be able to easily access this. And it's been fun. We could see the thruster pack, but man, Snakebite was actually just swarmed on that one. And we'll see more use of that thruster pack. Here's the new submachine gun.
Here's the SMG. So early in development, GoldenBoy, right, and even still, you see it's pretty powerful right there, picking up that kill. Early in development, it was so deadly that it was actually banned from most playtests, right? But if it was on the map and it hadn't been yet removed from the map, players actually, you were not allowed to pick up the SMG. It has since been tuned down, but one of the things we absolutely want to get from the beta, from players when it actually fully starts on the 29th, of course, is feedback on every aspect of the game, including Sandbox. I mean, weapon balance is so central to Halo because it is a game that has, you know, a little bit longer kill times. That's what Halo is well known for. You want to make sure that each weapon is so delicately tuned. So looking forward to seeing what players think, of course, with different weapons, with things like the battering. That's still your traditional 4-shot kill. Kill time is pretty consistent with prior titles, but you want to know what everyone thinks there. Picking up that headshot medal right there is Snakebite. Now, hanging around top mid, of course, you're looking at a map. Let's see, we'll go ahead. I think we can actually just rewind really quick if you want to hit X.
Yeah, let's rewind.
Let's go ahead and rewind. I think that should reset everything. So yeah, like we said, right here, you're looking at the spectator mode as well as the entire title a little bit early on. So you will see a few things with the spectator mode is running off of a dedicated server as well. All games in the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta are running off the dedicated server, so we might see a little bit of issues there. So we want to go ahead and let's swap to a different POV. We'll see what else is happening around the map. But of course, right now you're looking at Troop. That's a map inspired by Midship, so you're going to see a lot of similarities there, but also a lot of new geometry. Looking forward to getting Strongside on the program later. He can tell us a lot more about that. Of course, Strongside, a man who spends a lot of time on these maps, so looking forward to getting his input on how the map development is going and everything. They're working on quite a lot of stuff. And they've been crazy over there. I mean, crunching to get the beta ready. It's been nothing short of insanity for the Halo 5 dev team as we get
Dragon's trying to get out of here.
Make sure the beta is as good as it can be.
He's trying to get out of here. He's like
trying to break out.
He's trying to. Oh man, look at you with the terminology. Yeah, well, it'll be fun to have Strongside on the broadcast to talk about a lot of these things because, you know, I played Truth when it was very early.
Yeah.
Now, fun fact about Truth, from my perspective, this was one of the darkest maps I ever played.
Yeah. When you visited the studio, we should talk about that.
It was like nighttime.
It was very, very dark. But also, I mean, your impressions of the Halo 5 beta. I mean, tell me what kind of things clicked well, what didn't feel intuitive, what was your feeling on when you first got your hands on the gameplay?
So yeah, when I first got my hands on it, the thing that spoke to me right away was the smart link with the assault rifle, something that had never been done before. So I was wondering, like, what were some of the pros and the cons and the benefits of it? And it was still being tuned at that time. Right.
I mean,
so,
and to that end, I mean, everything.
Yeah. No, everything's still being tuned, right? But the assault rifle in particular was being tuned because its smart link wasn't as good as the actual from just shooting regular, right, as you would in any Halo, right? And the SMG was godlike. So that was like a couple of things that just like stood out to me right away. But the thing that I really enjoyed was the difference in approaches with this weapon in particular, right? Had a chance to use the light rifle, and there you can see trying to go for those shots. And
it looks like that was a little trade there. Yeah, those two players are going to trade. So we'll hop back on board with Snakebite after he spawns. We'll see. Yeah, here he is with the pistol. And the pistol, I mean, and
that was another thing too. Yeah. Was the pistol? It was because it was surprising how hard it was to shoot.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, I've had a fair bit of time to see the pistol as it's developed over the better part of the last year, but it's certainly a precision weapon, right? If you think about even something like the Halo 3 Magnum, it's so different from that. Obviously, very different from the Halo CE pistol. I guess it's closest to the Halo 2 pistol.
Yeah, to me, it's like a combination of the Reach and 2 pistol.
Right.
That's actually what it feels like to me, because the Reach pistol was a very good weapon to use as and here's a Prophet's Bane, by the way. Lord Nikon looking to get. Oh no!
Gets that thrust in. Does not get that though, but that sword is
not going to happen.
And I am Pharaoh's going to want to grab that, but Snakebite says no. We'll see if Snakebite picks up the sword. Looks like no. You ran past it. Did not see it on the ground.
Snakebite don't need no Prophet's Bane.
Snakebite and team are up 24-16 here. Blue team pushing in on Truth. If you're just joining us, we're live from the Twitch headquarters, checking out the pre-beta phase of the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. We've got some players checking out these first 3 days. What's going on is just stress testing everything, making sure that the game is good to go for the 29th debut, when if you do have Halo the Master Chief Collection, you'll be able to jump into the beta as well. Later, also, Alex, we can talk about the beta is actually going to change quite a bit throughout the 3 weeks. 3 weeks, we're really excited to have that much gameplay during the holidays. We hope it's a really good time where players can hop online and check out the game, but the game is actually going to change quite a bit, and not only in terms of the maps and modes that are available, but also the weapons, and we're even going to have different aspects that the community can vote on, so we'll talk about those later on in the show too.
That'll be pretty fun. So yeah, and I just wanted to kind of get that point across with the pistol was, if you saw Snakebite there, the way that he was using it, it's a very it's the sidearm that you want in your back pocket, right? And really like that. I felt like, oh, nice shot there.
Yeah.
And the battle rifle also coming back, which of course made a return in Halo 4 from Reach to 4. And I like for one, I'm a sucker for sound. Oh, I thought you would have gotten that. And I'm a sucker for sound, and I love the way the battle rifle sounds in Halo 5. Big fan of it. Has that meaty feel.
Yeah, I think
that
it has.
I
think it certainly has returned to the beastly and like you said, meaty sound that it once had. So, and that's another thing. I mean, we've gotten feedback from players on what they're hearing from the multiplayer announcer voice, even things like audio. Of course, that's what the beta is here for. We want to be able to fine tune this game and make sure that that we're taking into the community's feedback into account. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's really exciting also for us.
Killing Frenzy, by the way.
Oh, from Snakebite?
Yeah, from Snakebite.
All right, good stuff from them. Their team is up 37-19, a little bit over 5 minutes left in the match. But what you're watching right now, of course, is Slayer, traditional mode. And we're going to have a lot more modes that we're going to be showing throughout the beta. But this is your traditional gameplay, Alex. It's 12 minutes on the clock and 50 kills to win.
Yep, pretty much what you expect to find in a Halo game. And again, you're going to see the assault rifle.
Teeing up a ground pound right there. That's actually the first ground pound that we've seen on stream. So let's quickly talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right there, as what you have to do is you jump in the air and you engage your stabilizers by pressing in that crouch button, and that'll kind of set you up in the air for a moment. That charges a ground pound, and you come slamming to the ground. You can aim it up until the last second, and you can take out players, but you do hang in the air. So, we've always talked about GoldenBoy with the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. We talked about it during the first reveal back in November, but there's a lot of give and take with the Spartan abilities.
Yeah, you can't expect to get a kill with that, you know, willy-nilly. You have to think about how you're going to use it versus just being like, okay, you know, I'm going to get this like cool-looking kill, right? Because you end up causing your team, you know, some valuable positioning. And Dragon trying to get away from this, he's taking a bunch of shots.
He's running through several lines of fire there. He finally gets taken out, but gets the distraction medal. So right there, Blazing Ace is using what we call the stabilizer. Now, that's when you use the thruster pack. It'll stabilize the Spartan in midair, and it will slow their descent for a brief period. Now, that is toggleable, you know, based on feedback that we heard early on in the dev cycle. We knew that needed to be a toggle. So if you're a player who does not want to play with that stabilize on, you can turn that off in the controls.
Yeah, actually, fun fact. So when we went to the studio, you know, to kind of like cover up on that, I think the Sprint series might cover this a little bit because I saw like the episode description.
Yep.
But, you know, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, we kind of gave them. I know I in particular was like, hey, is it cool to toggle stable? Because I like the stabilizer, but I want to choose when I want to use it.
Oh, sure. And I think that's a really valid desire and concern. So it's exciting. Let's see if we can grab that sword.
No, it's caught on the
that
top.
Is some
you know,
real physics there. It was just wedged straight into the wall. But yeah, I think that's a natural desire, I think. But it's going to be interesting to see, too, which players leave it on, right? Because if you're playing against a player, say, who might have the rocket launcher, there's a lot of advantages to being able to hang in the air. I think largely so far we haven't seen pros adopt that all that much, but looks like Snakebite and team win that match 50-28. But looking forward to seeing overall, Alex, starting today, I think we're barely seeing and scratching the surface of Spartan abilities, right, and how players are using them. And I think certain players, I think like Ninja, have started to experiment with things a little bit more. But I'm excited to see during the beta, you know, how players use the Spartan abilities and how that changes over the 3-week period, and also the feedback, of course.
Yep.
As we jump out of this game, we also heard from Hysteria that it sounds like him and Ninja are also playing together. So if we do want to hop into,
well, Hysteria has to add me. We have to become friends.
Well, then he better do it. He better be watching right now.
If Hysteria is not adding me, then we have some problems.
That's a big issue.
You know, I mean, honestly, I thought me and Hysteria were friends.
Nope.
No, we're not.
Nope. But let's see, the Cloud9 boys, they got what was it, 4th place?
They got 4th place. We had an just to give you guys an update. HCS is looking awesome. We had a crazy event at Iron Gaming. We're gearing up for UGC coming up in just 2 short weeks.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool, especially just returning to the regular cadence of in-person Halo tournaments. I mean, you know, back in the days of Halo 2, Halo 3, even into Halo Reach, of course, there were so many tournaments. It felt like you saw the competitive Halo community every 3 weeks. So
yeah,
definitely, if you are a fan of competitive Halo, it's an exciting time. Lots of tournaments going to be happening. Like you said, UGC is going to be on January 2nd. It's going to be beginning. It's going to be in St. Louis.
Kick off the new year right with some Halo.
And it's going to be a $20,000. I think even more. They're crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding put them at $23,000.
Yeah, so that's going to be the biggest tournament we've had yet. That will be a diamond tournament. It's going to be awarding 4,000 Halo Championship Series points. So a lot of the players you're watching today are some of the best Halo players in the world. Right now, we were just watching Snakebite. He's on the number one ranked Counter Logic Gaming. Of course, really cool to see all the top esports organizations picking up Halo teams and those teams now doing well. So to see that Cloud9, Optic, CLG, EG all picking up top teams, and then that return on their investment immediately. You know, I think obviously they have very good talent scouts to pick the teams that they do.
Kelby knows his Halo, you know,
so
he knows the teams that he wanted to scout out, and you know, and he got them. But yeah, of course, guys, we're waiting to jump into another game here, but you know, of course, want to kind of hear what you guys have to say in the chat, right? I mean, that's always a positive thing there. Make sure you guys are you know, talking about it. Watch the other streams that are going on too. Lyric is live playing Halo 5. Ninja, of course, if you want to watch one of the best players you know, play some Halo. Hines, I believe, is still streaming too. So a lot of the top guys are streaming. Go in there, show them some love, which I'm sure you guys have done already.
Yeah, it was cool. At 1 p.m., kind of a full avalanche of streams went online as a lot of players were hopping in, and we're excited to highlight some of those today. We also got some questions, as we said, from Reddit, so we'll take a stab at those. You know, and in just a moment we can go ahead and add Josh Holmes and Strongside. I think are standing by, and I think they're ready to be brought in. We can go ahead and give them some questions. So if we want to bring them in on Skype at any time, let us know when they're in, and then we'll get to some of these questions, because GoldenBoy, we've got quite a few questions on Reddit. They had a bunch of awesome inquiries about the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta, and we're going to run through those as well.
Yeah,
so who are you seeing? Who's playing right now?
I'm waiting. Hines and Snakebite, Taui and Royborg are
Okay.
actually all looking for games here. So waiting to jump over to them. Hysteria hasn't added me, folks. So we're not friends.
That's
this
clear.
point.
That's clear at this point.
It's very, very clear. The lines have been drawn,
That's a shame.
and Hysteria and I are just not friends.
Cool, but we'll jump into some questions as we wait. Another one, let's see. The Mario Karters asks, will the Halo 5 Guardians beta use dedicated servers? And the answer is that yes, the beta is actually only on dedicated servers. There is no peer-to-peer play in Halo 5 Guardians. So everything you do in game as well as spectating is all going to be running off of the dedicated server.
I had no idea. I thought it was just spectator mode was running off the cloud.
Nope, there you go.
Okay.
And Smitty Boy Tell him, he asked, will we be able to record early access footage for YouTube? And if you are in early access, you will be able to record, of course. But as we said, there's only about 2 full days of gameplay for this stress test of the pre-beta phase. But once the beta kicks off on December 29th, everything's going to be fair game. We expect a lot of people to be heading to Twitch as well as making content on YouTube. And what I'm really looking forward to specifically, I think everyone's kind of dipping their toes in right now, and I think that'll be the case for the first few days of the actual beta. But really looking forward to seeing both, legendary Halo players. I mean,
right.
Players like Gandhi, and as well as all the way across the community to just players who might be, not really into the competitive scene, just giving us your feedback. I mean, absolutely send me links on Twitter. I want to know what everyone thinks of every different system in the game. That's what we're going to be looking forward to. I'm going to be making sure that the dev team gets all the feedback they need to make whatever improvements or updates before the actual game ships. Their team has a lot of time, and I know they're looking forward to the ability to do so as well.
Hello.
Looks like we're taking a look if Heinz might be able to get in here in just a second.
Hello.
But yeah, it sounds like we might have Josh and Strongside here joining us on Skype. Josh Holmes, studio head for Halo 5 Guardians, as well as Strongside, a member of our pro team. Are you guys on?
Yeah, can you guys hear us?
Yeah,
How's
we
it
can.
going?
We'll turn you up just a little bit. I got to say hello from San Francisco. How's everything going over there?
Things are going good. I mean, I just came from the war room where we're watching, all of the numbers go across the screen, looking at concurrency and stuff, and it's just really exciting to be live and have people, actually going against the servers right now.
Yeah, it was cool over here too. We kind of have at the Twitch HQ all the different streams up, and as the streams started populating, we kind of saw all the pros hopping on. So it's been cool over here. We kind of have a war room in the Twitch HQ as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these pro players kind of adapt to this new innovative Halo. It's completely different than some of the past Halos. So watching them learn from game to game, it's an incredible thing to see.
Yeah, it has been really cool for us as well. I think Alex and I were talking about it earlier, but I don't think, we've only just seen kind of scratching the surface of the Spartan abilities, and we've barely seen any ground pounds, any Spartan charges just yet. So
everyone's
cool.
playing super traditional right
so
now.
let's
right?
jump into the game. Who are we going on now?
You know what? I know we were going to wait a little while, but you just got to show love to Roy.
Yeah.
And he's in a game. We're just going to jump into it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and switch over to the gameplay as we're now loading into his game. We'll see which mode he's playing on. But yeah, Josh, we started to answer a few questions, but Ghost Talker 08 is our next question. He asks, which maps can we see this weekend in the pre-beta phase?
Yeah, so in the pre-beta, we're really just focusing on the week 1 content for the beta. So there's Slayer mode and then 2 maps. One of those is Truth, and the other is Empire. And I think we're actually on Empire right here. So this is a brand new map for Halo 5 Guardians that has a lot of verticality in it. It takes place in a skyscraper in a futuristic city, and it's really been designed with a lot of different clamber routes in there, and take full advantage of all the new abilities that are a part of the Sandbox.
Yeah, I know, Strongside, whenever I come over to watch you play in the pro team room, I know you're always finding new clamber routes, and that's another exciting piece of evolution of the game is to see during the beta how the routes and the strategy change, especially on the new maps.
Yeah, the verticality on this map it's everywhere. So you can sneak up on an opponent and just get the assassination on him without him expecting it. And what's really cool about Empire is that there's 2 sniper rifles on the map. So right off the start of the match, you have both teams just gunning for the center of the map, trying to get both snipers, and it creates a lot of tension between both teams because the teams are not able to just sit back and kind of pick off enemies, they're forced to move forward and try and get these power weapons that can benefit their team.
Yeah, this is one of the first maps that I played. I remember when it was just blocked out, and having joined the studio about a year before that, it was one of the Halo 5, of course, the first game that I got to see from concept to beta. So it's cool to see how this map has evolved. Obviously, the art team has done an incredible job to make it look the way it does. But now it looks like Towie and Roy off to an early deficit. They're down 8-15.
Yeah, Roy is not having a good run here, man. He got 1 kill. He's 5 deaths, 1 assist for him. Quite shocking. Towie's holding it down, though, and I believe they are joined also by Snipedown.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what Snipedown's up to. Of course, a player who was actually voted community voted the MVP of the Iron Gaming Columbus tournament. When your team places second, however, you still take the MVP award over players on the winning team, that you've done something special.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Speaking of champions, we got one on the call, by the way. We just want to highlight this. Okay, the one and only Strong Side.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going out on top.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, Strong Side is also, I think, the most recent addition to Pro Team. So obviously, I'm looking forward to Strong Side talking to you more about also just the maps and your thoughts so far and everything. The next question we have, Josh, is let's see, concerning the power weapons. Will they all spawn at the start of the match? Do they all have a timer? What is the thought around the kind of the power weapon timing right now? Of course, a big aspect of competitive play.
Yeah, so I mean, in the maps that you're going to see in beta, these are all maps that feature power weapons that spawn in at the start of the match. We've got weapon pads that sort of denote where those weapons will come in, and then there's a set timer until they respawn once they've been picked up from the weapon pad. But the timing on the various different weapon spawns is something that we're looking at, and we're really interested in getting feedback on through the beta, just seeing how these maps play, because it makes a huge difference in the flow of the game.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I think it'll be neat to see what players think just about the new weapon pad system, as well as the timing there. I think as the game goes on and we start to see more top-level players kind of hop in, we'll start to understand that cadence a lot better. Next one is from MattyBoy555. Once again, these questions are from the Reddit Halo community. Will Halo 5 Guardians have a shotgun?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know if the shotgun is actually included in any of the beta maps. I want to say I don't think it is, but definitely there's a shotgun in the game. Halo wouldn't be Halo without the shotgun, and so you'll definitely see that in the final game.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of fans will be definitely happy to hear that. I know Alex is a big fan of the shotty to body.
Dude, that's what I'm all about, man. Missing those snipe shots like a champ, bust out the shotgun, gets the job done.
That's how you do it. All right, so give us some lowdown, Strong Side, on Empire here, one of the week 1 maps. What is kind of the strategy here on this brand new map?
So you're actually watching Roy kind of and his team implement a good strategy. They're kind of holding back, letting him make the moves with the sniper. This game type can get slow because if both teams have a sniper, one team doesn't want to push because they could give the other team both of the sniper rifles. So you see Roy kind of sitting back, letting his teammates kind of make some openings and trying to bait in the enemy team to pick off some kills. So you see him kind of moving around everywhere, and he's been picking up a few double kills that I've seen so far and playing really well. And something that I've noticed is a lot of the players right now, they don't know where the weapons spawn. So a lot of them are running around with the AR and the Magnum, but you'll notice like Snipedown just picked up a battle rifle earlier. Once they learn where a lot of these other weapons spawn, like the SMG as well, you'll see a lot more like pushes coming into play. Right now, and nobody knows where these are, but yeah, it's gonna play out really well once we see a lot more weapons coming into play.
Yeah, once you spawn in on this map, you've got the 2 bases where you spawn in, and there's an SMG in each one of those bases, kind of in the little alcove off of there. And then on the outer area of the map that we're seeing here, there's a battle rifle on each end, so you can go and pick that up. So yeah, as Mike's saying, as players start to learn these positions, you're going to see them taking more advantage of these weapons.
Yeah, and we've just seen this starting to be played by these pro players, and like you said earlier, Bravo, like the game is going to change immensely every single day. for this beta.
Yeah,
they're going to learn these maps down to a T, and they're going to have set strategies where they're just moving around like a wolf pack. So that's going to be probably the most interesting part for me as a past pro player, just to see these players evolve with all these new innovative features and new weapons that are being tuned a different way.
Yeah, it looked like these EG players, looks like Top Gun on the red team had a sniper rifle. However, Roy says no, grabs a sniper rifle in hand. They had a big comeback coming right here as Roy tries to pick up the double. 21-37, still in this match. They were just down by 3 by a few moments ago, but Strungside, I absolutely see what you're talking about there, as the match can slow down, similar to any kind of two-base symmetrical map. Right there, he picks up another headshot. Now they're only down by 3.
He's on fire, by the way.
But yeah, he's playing really well. No surprise there from Roy. He's finally taken down. Looks like that was Prince Eugene on the other side. We'll see if he can go on a streak here. What's that?
Little royalty.
Oh yeah, no. And a scoreboard also shows it. Let's go to the next question. This one's from Ballastrophobia. He asks, do you anticipate that Halo 5 will launch with a fully featured ranking system, Josh?
Well, yeah, so we have a brand new skill-based ranking system it's actually a part of the beta as well. It's new for Halo 5 Guardians. It's CSR, or competitive skill rating, which is something that we featured before on Halo Waypoint, but this is fully integrated into the game itself. And like I said, it's a brand new system. It's a 7-tier skill system that tracks your skill from iron through bronze, silver, gold, onyx, and then semi-pro and pro are the top 2 tiers. And semi-pro and pro are interesting in that once you get into the semi-pro tier, you actually see like a rating for your profile that will kind of go up and down, sort of like an ELO-like rating. And then the top 200 players in the world get the pro designation, and so in the final game you'll actually see those players ranked from number 1 down to number 200, and you'll also be able to see the ratings that each one of them have. So you'll be able to see, what does it take for me to get into that top 200 to break from semi-pro into pro, and then that rating system is per playlist. So if you're a player that favors breakout versus Slayer, you'll have a different rating for that playlist.
Well, I know I know the competitive community is excited to dive in, especially with the fierce competition that will be at the top with the top 200 at any moment. I think every single night when you have Alex, people streaming on Twitch, they'll be fighting for that top spot, right?
Yeah.
Are you in the top 10? Are you in the Strungside? Where do you anticipate that you will be in this list? I want some predictions.
I'll definitely be in that top 200, and I'm so excited for these rankings. It's something that we really needed with Halo, and every game is going to be competitive. So if you're going into a ranked match, you better be ready, because the other team is not going to let up and not go easy. Everyone's fighting for those top 200 spots. You want that little logo next to your name saying that you're one of the best in the world. So it's going to be cool to see how many players can rock that logo in every single hopper, or are they only going to be able to hold that in maybe one hopper, like specific to a Slayer or specific to their breakout.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, my God, it's not 41-41.
I think that's something that, when we look at Halo 4, was something that was kind of missing from that game. And what we've tried to do with 5 is build in these 2 different progression systems. So you still have your Spartan rank that goes up based on your experience and how long you've played the game in a given playlist or hopper, and then you've got this new CSR rating that tracks your skill relative to everybody else in the game.
Awesome, yeah, and I know we're looking forward to getting feedback from the community on those systems as well. As we were breaking that down now, looks like Roy and team have regained the lead. I think actually taken it for maybe the first time. They're up now 44-41. Got to give a shout out to Top Gun and Master Biggie. Those guys from the Halo Gaff community, they're putting up quite a fight as well. The red team doing really well against some of the best Halo players in the world. So nice stuff from Top Gun and Biggie.
So Josh, I'm assuming you and I are going to be rocking the wood division, the bronze division strong. We're going to hold it down there, I think. Is that the game plan? Because I'll own it. I gotta
tell you, I was really frustrated with my rating, and my team was making fun of me because we were doing a bunch of testing when we were getting ready internally. And the first few matches, we were doing drops and stuff just to test some things out, and those all counted as losses in my record. So it like
not cool.
Before we reset stuff, I think I was actually at Iron when I first qualified for Slayer, and I was pretty frustrated by that.
I'm anticipating being in the plastic division.
I don't know, Alex. You gotta be careful. Whenever I see Josh in playtest, he does pretty well. So you might be alone here.
No, listen.
You might be alone here in the plastic.
The fact
division.
is, I'm the best Halo 5 player in this room right now.
In this room?
In this room. We're gonna 1v1 later on. One day.
We'll jump back into play-by-play for the last second of this match now. 49-47.
This is it.
These two players might trade, and oh my goodness, now 50-47. That game ends. So Roy and team, it was Roy Towie Snipe down. Right there, they actually closed that out.
Killing it.
We'll go ahead and jump into another match in just a bit, but let's go ahead and continue with the questions. We've got quite a few from our friends on Reddit. So the next one, we heard a little bit of battle chatter in that game, Josh. Battle chatter, of course, a new system, brand new to Halo. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration there, and also the community wants to know, the boss specifically asks, will battle chatter be a toggleable option?
Yeah, so the battle chatter system is something that kind of serves two purposes in the game. You know, we wanted something that was informative and kind of reflective of what it would be like to play with other competitive players on your team. So those Spartans that are your teammates are actually making intelligent call-outs dynamically throughout the match based on the flow of action and events that are taking place. And I think that gives you a sense of situational awareness. It also starts to teach players how to communicate effectively with their team. And it teaches them things like locations around the maps and things like that. The other part is to kind of add to the experience of playing and just, kind of be a little bit more of that, putting you there in the battle. It's something that we're still working with. We're still tuning and tweaking. We're going to take feedback through the beta process. If there's a lot of people that want to see a toggle there, that's something that we definitely consider if that shows up in the feedback that we get from beta.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's definitely pretty neat. I mean, just the fact that when we were watching on Roy's perspective, you saw he already had a sniper rifle in hand, right? And then you heard sniper rifle coming up in 10 seconds in the chatter, so another teammate knew to sweep in.
Yeah.
And for players to have that awareness and knowledge in every game, I think to Strongside's point, it's going to make every game that much more competitive, right? No longer will there be an option where only a few players know when those power weapons are coming.
Yeah, it's a mechanic that makes sense. For integrating newer players into the competitive Halo experience, and I definitely do agree. I love the options. I love options, right? I'm a big fan of.
And let's go ahead and jump into the actual. Yeah. We'll switch to the gameplay right now, just to show a little bit of the menu. If
to show the options.
Yeah, sure, we can. But go ahead. As you see, we have two maps here in these in this pre-beta phase. But just taking a look at the main menu, Alex, if you want to move around here as we continue through the Q&A, so people can take a look around at the options that they'll have. For example, things like maintaining sprint and auto-stabilize, toggling on and off in the controller settings. But next question, Josh, is from the Warlock. They ask, when are we going to hear more about the bigger multiplayer experiences?
Yeah, so the focus for the beta is really on the 4v4 kind of infantry arena experience with kind of tighter focused maps around that experience. But obviously, this is just a small portion of the overall multiplayer experience for Halo 5 Guardians. And we have bigger multiplayer experiences that take advantage of vehicles and things like that we'll be talking about next year as we get closer to launch of the game.
Cool. All right.
Very cool.
All right, let's see. Who are we jumping on board with, Alex?
Snakebite.
We're going to Snakebite?
Going to Snakebite.
So, as you saw right there, I believe that was on stream, right? All you need to do to jump into spectating a game within the multiplayer beta is you simply select the name on your roster. And I believe we also have a confirmation that as long as you follow the player, let's actually, I have the info here. As long as you add someone, they'll appear in the list on the roster. So those players will appear within your roster. So as long as you follow someone, you can then join their gameplay. So you do not necessarily need to be friends with the player. If you say you want to watch your favorite Twitch streamer or your favorite pro player, you can actually just spectate their games in the same way that we did. So right now we're looking at Snakebite right here. He's playing once again on Empire. We'll see now tied up 1-1 at the first few minutes of the match.
Yeah, it's a cool feature, again, as you saw, guys, really easy to do, you know, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be, since I've tricked a lot of these pros into adding me into their friends list now, I'm going to be actually booting up some streams and probably doing some fun Halo 5 casting and messing around with the community and stuff, so that'll be pretty fun.
And where can people find you on Twitch?
GoldenBoy FTW.
All right, don't forget it. Make sure you follow right now. Looks like they're off to a nice 7-1 to lead. Green Rhino now hitting a headshot with a sniper rifle in hand. We'll jump into the next question, Josh. Let's see. Jack is back 99 wants to know, will there be split screen in the Halo 5 beta, and if not, the full game?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't support split screen in the beta. You know, we've really been pushing hard as a team to get the game into a shape where we can put it out here almost a year before release. And so split screen is one of those things that we weren't able to bring into the beta, but we definitely will have split screen in the final game. We're planning for 2-player split screen, both for competitive multiplayer as well as co-op when we launch next year.
Cool. I know there's still a lot of couch warriors, right?
That's right.
A lot of players who maybe, you know, whether they're playing with a brother or a best friend, they
I play split screen with my wife all the time.
Oh, see, even couples.
Couples
who want to play together, so that's good to know as well. Now, of course, strong side with the primary weapons that are in that players will find in the multiplayer beta. When we talk about the DMR and the BR, you can find both of those on these maps. What has been the go-to right now in the pro team room? What are the ideal uses for both of those weapons?
You know, mostly you'll find us going for the battle rifle, and that's a lot because there's 6 battle rifles on Empire. There's only 1 DMR right now. The DMR does work really well from long range and from a kind of middle to long range as well. But the battle rifle is, I mean, it's like it was in past Halos. It's extremely versatile, great for short, medium, long range, and it's a 4-shot. It's a 4-shot, so if you can have some precision aim, you're going to get the classic 4-shot feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, speaking of, it's a brand new medal in the game. Who was behind that? The perfect kill 4-shot medal. It's a pretty neat one. It's a neat tribute to just, of course, players who are super skilled with that weapon.
Yeah, and you notice Snakebite, he's actually been catching on to where the battle rifles spawn, so he's got that advantage on the other team. This game we're seeing kind of a big step away from the last game, how close that last game was, 28-7, and Snakebite's going for the battle rifle off spawn every single time, so that's giving him an advantage. While other players may just have the AR and the pistol. So definitely knowing where these weapons are is going to benefit you in the long run when you're playing for these ranks.
Certainly. Now, as you said, 31-8, Snakebite and crew doing some damage here. Now, next question. We'll go ahead. We've got a few more to get through. Leo Brunit asks, do the maps on Halo 5 have dynamic elements?
Yeah, there are actually some dynamic elements to a few of the maps in arena mode, and you're going to see, I think, at least one example of that in the maps that ship in the beta. So the remix map that we're featuring for this map, Empire, there's a remix version of this that is called Eden, and Eden's pretty different layout with catwalks through the middle and such. But there are some dynamic elements to that, some cover pieces in the outer area that can be raised and lowered, as well as a little section down in the middle courtyard area where you can actually raise up a piece that creates a new route that allows you to get up to the top catwalk. So that's something that we definitely wanted to include in the game, but we wanted to also, be kind of very respectful of the flow of the maps and not have the dynamic elements take away from that flow. So we've been really selective about how we implement that and make sure that it's complementary to the play of the map.
Now, Josh, one of the things that I enjoyed quite a bit in my trip over to 343 was learning about how you guys were creating the maps, right? We've heard the term remix pop up a couple times.
Yep.
And I wanted to get, see if you could cover. If you can't, it's completely fine. But talk a bit about that if possible, because I think it's really cool, and I think a lot of fans would really appreciate what you guys are doing with that.
Yeah, I think you'll actually see a little bit of that design process covered in future episodes of the Sprint when they go live on the Halo channel. But we started out with this idea of doing remix versions of maps that originally all we were thinking was, hey, we want to do different times of day. We'd like to do like a daytime and a nighttime version of a map. But that sort of evolved over time into, well, what could we do to change up the way that the map plays?
Yeah.
Could we change the placement of weapons? Could we actually change the geo and create whole new routes and ways to play through the map? And so the design team worked very closely with the pro team and kind of took a look at each one of the maps and went through this process of, okay, how could we, kind of dramatically change the way that this map would play to get a lot of additional playability out of these spaces, as so that you have something that is both visually exciting and adds visual variety into the game, but also gives you a whole new play experience.
Yeah, I know many months ago when I went into the pro team room, I know the pro team was a really big part, as you said, of shaping those, just taking a look at the base maps and what type of tweaks and improvements, of course, because even the smallest changes, of course, in geometry can change the flow of the map so much. So looking forward to seeing what the community thinks of the remixes for sure.
Yeah, it was something that when I learned about it at the office, I thought it was really cool. I'm just like, wow, like you're able to create more, right? Create more experiences, which I felt is something, it adds a lot to the sandbox that is Halo, and I've always enjoyed that. More maps, the better, right? Halo 2 had a lot of maps, so I loved just being able to dive into Waterworks and then make my way over to Coag, and then after that play a smaller game on Lockout. It was always really fun to just have like a variety of maps, and it's good to see Halo 5 Guardians.
Yeah, and I really want to give a big shout out to the art team, especially. The design team has worked really closely with Pro Team and kind of come up with these ideas around flow, but the art team has really gone above and beyond in kind of re-envisioning these maps and taking what, as I said, kind of started with a fairly straightforward, like, hey, let's just do a lighting pass on these maps. And they've really gone above and beyond and just completely changed the look and feel of these spaces.
Oh yeah, I think that even entirely one of the cool things is when I'm playing remixes, sometimes you forget that the map is even inspired with the original, just because of, like you said, how different it plays and also how different it looks. So to Alex's point, it's cool to have so many maps also offered in a beta this far ahead of launch as well. Let's go ahead and let's get Alex, if you fire up the game again, we'll jump back into the gameplay so people can continue to see the menu. Of course, this is the first look that everyone has had here at the beta. And if you're just joining us, we're live from the Twitch headquarters. My name is Bravo. I'm joined here by Alex GoldenBoy Mendez. And back home in Seattle at the studio, we've got Josh Holmes, who is studio head at 343 for Halo 5 Guardians, as well as Michael Strongside Kavanaugh joining us on the phone, a member of the pro team who's putting a lot of hard work into making Halo 5 Guardians the best game it can be. Next question from the Reddit community, Josh, is will 343 use community-created content in matchmaking for playlists?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the real defining parts of the Halo community is just how many incredibly talented creators the community has, and it's been one of the hallmarks of the franchise for years. And so this is definitely something that we'll look for every opportunity to find those gems and surface the best content that the community creates, and then share that broadly within our playlist for Halo 5 Guardians. I think we're really lucky to have that part of our community be so committed and passionate about the things that they're creating and sharing with others.
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, just especially having the privilege to work on a little bit with the matchmaking team since joining the studio. I mean, some of the maps that the community creates are absolutely incredible. Even in the Master Chief Collection, we're already seeing some incredible Forge maps, and I know that in Halo 5 that'll be no exception. And it's also really cool to kind of see how the community kind of self-promotes that content, right? The community's favorite maps always rise to the top, so really cool to bring those into matchmaking. Let's see. Next one is Critical Tortoise asks, is the beta matchmaking only?
Sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Oh yeah, Critical Tortoise wants to know: is the beta matchmaking only?
Oh, is the beta matchmaking only? Yes, yeah. The beta is totally focused on matchmaking, and one of the things that we're really trying to put through the paces through the course of beta is all of the services that we built to support the online experience and multiplayer with all of the dedicated servers that are running through Xbox Live, and so that's something that we're 100% focused on with the beta. And so every match that you're going to play is going to be a match-made match, and it's going to be a match that's being played on a dedicated server.
I know people will be happy to hear that and excited to jump in on December 29th when everything is up and running. But we've got a real treat here, GoldenBoy. We've got both Heinz and Ogre 2. This is our first look at Ogre 2, often touted as the best player in the history of Halo. Now taking a look running around on Empire, so we'll check out their gameplay and see what they're able to pull off.
Yeah, Ogre 2.
The interesting thing about Ogre 2, Brav, is gonna just see how he adapts so quickly to this game as well. He's been a GOAT at every single Halo. He always finds a way to make it to the top. He always finds a team and puts together a squad, and they just dominate.
Yeah, I believe he just won his, I think, Iron Gaming Columbus was his 40th major event win, with hundreds of thousands of dollars in winnings there. So cool to see him jumping into this pre-beta phase, helping us stress test everything and see if everything's rolling. Next question is from Azerator125. They want to know, in Halo 5, will the Spartans' undersuit be black?
Yeah, so for most of the armor designs in Halo 5 Guardians, the Spartan's undersuit remains black. There are some examples where we actually have the color modified to enhance the design, but for the most part, the undersuit does remain black. And one of the things that we're going to be doing with this game, more so than any past Halo game, is really focusing on a lot of variety from a cosmetic standpoint, giving people tons and tons of options to choose from. You're going to see some of those in the beta, actually a fair number of choices in the beta, but that's just barely scratching the surface of what we have planned for the final game.
Cool, now switching over to Ogre 2. Their team is down 10-14. We'll see if they can rally back, as we saw Roy and the Evil Geniuses crew was able to do before. But now you're watching Ogre 2 and Heinz of CLG, the #1 ranked Halo team in the Halo Championship Series, only down by a few kills here, Alex.
Yeah, and I guess, Josh, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Halo Championship Series as well. I mean, we've seen some pretty cool stuff with that. Strong Side obviously would have wished, to still see him compete, going out on top.
I wish I could see Strong Side compete too.
Yeah, it was. It's a joy, it's a privilege, and an honor. Of course, I hope I'm making him blush all the way from Seattle. But yeah, Josh, I guess some thoughts on that. Halo Championship Series definitely has been raging on really well, and feedback has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see all the teams coming together and all the excitement around competitive Halo. And it's something that we just want to see continue to build. And as we get closer and closer to the launch of Halo 5 Guardians, it's something that we want to continue to support and look for every opportunity to build that competitive community for Halo. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see all the play, over this upcoming season, and then just focus with the team on how we can support with Halo 5 Guardians.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of the evolution of competitive play, Strong Side, we haven't seen, we talked a little bit about this when you guys jumped on, but we haven't seen too much of the Spartan abilities outside of thrust being used. I think slowly but surely we're starting
charge used once.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of the thrust being used in creative ways, right? Using it to move away from players, using it when you're jumping to just do a quick dash. But in terms of Spartan charge, ground pound, we're not seeing all of that utilized just yet. I mean, also, you joined the studio not too long ago. I know it took a little bit of time. How long do you think we're going to until we see some of that play perfecting? I imagine it's difficult, something that's difficult to master in a way.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about the abilities. It's something that players need to master, and they need to find out where they can use that ability on the map. It's not like you can use ground pound anywhere on the map.
Right.
Ground pound is a unique ability, and it's a crowd pleaser. It's going to be that 49-49 game where someone just ground pounds a Spartan and wins the game, and the crowd is just going to go nuts. And you just got to find out those spots on the map where you can use it. But you mentioned thrust, and thrust, we've been finding out in the pro team room that we really like to use it in the heat of a battle, like 1v1 battle, whether it be 1v1 with a Magnum, 1v1 with a battle rifle, DMR, SMG, assault rifle. The thrust really seems to help kind of make your opponent miss a shot, maybe even 2 shots, and give you the upper hand in battle if you're down a shot or 2.
Yeah, so players are going to be hopping in on the beta on the 29th. Kind of, I think what you're saying, really looking to that as a part of a strafe, right? To help you get up a shot in a battle and maybe even also maybe even land the first shot on the player. Let's see, ooh, ground pound was charging up there. Ogre 2 says no, picks up that 4-shot, perfect kill.
So I'm curious, for you, Strong Side, just because I've played against you and been dominated by you, would you say the things like Spartan charge, definitely I know ground pound, but are these kind of more situational abilities where you really have to sort of pick and choose the spots where you use them, or do you find that you use them once you've mastered them? Do you use them more frequently in the natural course of play? I'm curious for you, just as a much higher level player than myself.
It's definitely situational. There's some spots on a map, and obviously we're talking about a certain situation happening, but sometimes in certain parts of the map, like the Spartan charge or thrust or ground pound will work better. And so when that opportunity opens up, us in the pro team room, we know when that opportunity is, so we'll take advantage of that time and ground pound the opponent. Right now, like Bravo was saying, we're not seeing a lot of the players use this, and it does take time for players to kind of get used to these and understand them. They need to use them more to be able to be good with them. You can't just magically become the best ground pounder or magically become great at using thrust. These players need to adapt and figure out the ins and outs of all these abilities. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, it's definitely really situational when you want to use these.
It looks like now 49 to 38. Ogre 2 finally gets taken out, but Heinz and Ogre 2, the duo, did indeed come back. They win that match 50 to 39. As we talked about, these players just running and hopping into matchmaking. That was a match right there on Empire. But Strongside, tell us, ground pound, I mean, on a map like Empire, where is kind of the best place to use that? Because as I've had it some time, and Alex has had some time to experiment with that as well, you know, the angle and the height that you need, it's not always the easiest to tee up. Like we said, it's a challenge and it's situational. Where have you found the most practical uses? Are you generally crouching so that you stay off radar? Like, what has been the go-to best practice for ground pound?
You know, some great spots are actually in the base. You just need a place where there's some elevated ground and where you can get that height advantage to enable the ground pound. Sometimes I really like to use it when I'm running away from an enemy in the base. You'll find some objects around red and blue base where you can jump onto and just get that little bit of height to allow you to do that ground pound. So when that player comes chasing after you, and right when they hit that corner, you just ground pound them right in the face, right into the ground.
Yeah, and is it still, I mean, we talked about it being a crowd pleaser. I think whenever Alex and I saw it, Halo Fest weekend, when we saw a few ground pounds coming, I think from Ryan Noob on Truth, you know, everyone gets pretty excited. We see ground pound double kills every once in a while. Do you guys still get pretty amped up? Is it still a pretty big deal
every
when someone
time.
gets ground pounded?
Every single time. I mean, the whole room goes nuts. The whole office knows when a ground pound happens because it's that epic.
I was going to say, every once in a while we hear that room getting pretty loud, even when the door is closed, and we always wonder if what's going on in there. Ground pound sounds about right.
Probably. And to that as well, side, what about the Spartan charge? You know, I've seen it used 1 or 2 times now. When you and I went out the first time, before you know, you joined the folks over at 343, we were toying around a lot with the Spartan charge. And at that time, it didn't really connect as much, right? I didn't feel like I wasn't using it properly. One, I guess my question for you is, has there been tweaks made to it? And 2, you know, how do you feel its effectiveness is used now? Like, is the Spartan charge something you find yourself using as well? Just like to Bravo's question with the ground pound.
Let's also get back into we'll get back into the menus here. We'll show off the gameplay in just a moment as we. But Sad, I'll let you take that. Tell us about the Spartan charge.
Yeah, so GoldenBoy, last time we played with it, it was actually a lot different. There's been a lot of tweaks made, and we're still making tweaks, and that's a big reason for the beta, to get a lot of this feedback, and we have a lot of things in mind to tweak the Spartan charge even more. But when you charge into a room, we find it most effective when the player is weak. Usually, if the player is weak, you're going to take them out in that one hit. Spartan charge, if you go in kind of guns hot and you go into up against 2 people and use the Spartan charge, you're probably not going to win.
That's my move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I lose every time.
Yeah. So it's more like, I mean, like we were saying, it's situational. You definitely want to catch your opponent off guard. Maybe he sees you coming in on radar. He doesn't think you're going to come in guns blazing, and you just Spartan charge him against the wall. But yeah, there's definitely times when to use it and times when not to use it. But I think there's definitely some tweaks that still can be made to make it that much better, and we'll definitely see a lot of that coming after the beta.
Actually, I find Spartan Charge has a little bit more viability and use in Breakout, just because you have the enhanced lethality, and you have no radar in that mode. So when you're chasing down an opponent, you can get the jump on him a little bit more easily, and take him out with that one hit.
Definitely.
And that's a great way to end a round. Like if you can take the guy out with a Spartan Charge, or better yet, a ground pound, end the round, it kind of puts that punctuation point on the action.
Yeah, talking about Breakout with the Spartan Charge, it is completely different compared to your Team Slayer match. I mean, you can come around the corner and just take out the enemy without him even like having a clue that you were coming around there, because they don't see you there's no radar, so you don't see that, and you're able to just kind of go in hot and make them wonder what the heck happened.
Yeah, let's talk about, speaking of, I mean, the different maps and the modes. Josh, let's talk about just everything that's going to be included in the 3-week beta. We haven't had a chance to dive into the different phases, as well as kind of just a look at what type of maps and modes, and the sheer number of maps and modes that everyone can expect come the 29th.
Yeah, so week 1, we're going to be featuring Slayer and Truth and Empire, which are the maps that we've been looking at here in the pre-beta period. Week 2, we're going to actually then add Breakout, and we've got a couple of different maps that are part of Breakout. There's a map called Crossfire, which is the one that I think we've shown footage of up until now. There's another map called Trench that has a very different kind of flow to the play there. So that'll be added, and then in Slayer, which will still be available in week 2, we're going to have the 2 remix maps, Eden and Regret. So Regret is a remix of Truth, and then Eden is a remix of Empire. And then the 3rd week, we're going to add a brand new mode called Strongholds, which we haven't really talked about up until now, but that's a new objective-based mode that we'll be featuring in week 3. And one of the other things we're going to be changing from week to week is also the starting loadout for players. So I believe week 1 will be AR starts, but week 2 we switch to BR starts.
Right, yeah, I think right now what everyone's checking out, like you said, in the pre-beta phase, right now we just have limited content. This is just a look at what will be included in week 1. I think it'll be pistol AR. And right there you see, we also know that you'll see players really rapidly sometimes zooming in and out, and occasionally we'll see that. And if I understand correctly, that's I think just an early bug in the game, so players shouldn't expect to see that type of
yeah, that's actually a bug within the Spectator mode, so you won't actually see that bug when you're playing from first person. But in Spectator mode, one of the bugs that is in there in the early implementation of that is occasionally when a player is smart scoping in, you'll see that kind of rapid oscillation between zoom in and zoom out. And that's something that we're aware of, and that obviously will be fixed post-beta.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, too, because players were still pulling off amazing 4 shots when it was happening, so it certainly makes sense that it's just isolated to Spectator mode. Now we get a chance to look at Truth once again for the first time. We had a bunch of Empire matches in a row now, but we're back on board with Roy right here from Evil Geniuses, the 2nd-ranked team in the Halo Championship Series. They're off to an early lead here, Prophet's Bane in hand. They're up 15-6.
So I got to tell you guys, I watched a match earlier tonight, or today, I guess, with Evil Geniuses, where they were playing one of the top players from Japan, and it was actually a stream. I think the player's name is Vexation. I might be getting that wrong, but anyway, it was a bit of a surreal experience for me because it was like watching the entire game take place in Japanese with Japanese Spartan chatter, with Vexation, casting in Japanese, and they actually ended up beating Evil Geniuses by 2 points, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll have to go ahead and we'll have to find that clip on Twitch, GoldenBoy. But that's got to be, just pretty exciting. Of course, as a studio head, Josh, and also Strongside as a member of Pro Team, to see the game that you've been working on for so long finally get to the wild, and then right here in our pre-beta phase to already see players just playing in a different language, seeing the game in a different language has got to be really cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I said, it was kind of a surreal moment for me because I hadn't actually played the Japanese version of the game, and to see it being played, in another country live by really skilled players over there, seem to be having a good time. I hope they're having a good time. It was a pretty awesome movie.
I know Japan, I think, is actually quite underestimated in their Halo skill. I know Red Bull Japan often has some tournaments over there that are quite well attended. They often include Halo within their esports events out there. So maybe just one day, GoldenBoy, we can make our way.
Oh man, that'd be
Japan.
nuts. And I'm sorry for all the coffin folks. I'm just so verklempt with Halo love that I'm just.
I have to say, actually, GoldenBoy, when I got off the plane here, it is colder and rainier in San Francisco than it is in Seattle. Let that be known. When I got on the plane, it was 50 degrees.
Only for today.
No,
Seattle's still pretty murky, dude.
I'm not buying that for 1 second. I came here in a hoodie and I was freezing.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? You're soft. All right, that's basically what we're gonna come out here. I'm just messing.
Well, yeah, I don't want to. I mean, we're both going back to the East Coast for the holidays. I'm not. Really
oh no, and it's gonna be a nightmare.
It won't be too good.
I was just there.
So
So
that's not good.
no, not good.
Not
no,
good.
no.
All right.
It is brisk. Yeah, but that's kind of nuts to see. Japanese Halo players, right? Kind of doing it out with some of the best in North America, and I guess to that point about that, Josh, the dedicated servers. You were watching that game. How did it hold up at such a distance between these two teams?
So that was one of the things that was really impressive for me. Is I was watching the Japanese player's stream, and so from at least his perspective, things were very smooth and responsive. And so I don't know if the game had chosen a server that was local to Japan or had split the distance between the two. I'd have to go back and look at the log for that session and see kind of where it was being hosted out of. But there was nothing really crazy or out of the ordinary, considering that you had players playing on two very different positions around the globe against one another.
That's when you think about it, right? I mean, like, how crazy is that? In North America, you have Halo. Japan, you have Halo. That's cool. That's just like one of those surreal experiences.
Yeah,
I have to imagine.
Certainly excited to see just how different players play the game. I mean, we've even seen you actually just casted GoldenBoy in London. We've even seen the players, for example, in the UK actually play a very different style sometimes.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see as players come online. But now 39-20. I gotta say, Roy went in that room earlier with the Prophet's Bane and just got ambushed. Right?
Yeah.
He was not ready for that. His team doubling the enemy's score though, but they're putting up a little bit of a fight. Let's get back into our questions from our friends at Reddit on the Halo subreddit. Now let's see. Butter asks, what was the design decision for implementing the Halo 4 radar with the altitude cues rather than the radar we saw in Halo 1 to 3?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. When we went to implement the radar for Halo 4, we talked a lot about how we could go about improving the radar, and we sort of intended to convey more information about the relative enemy placement and kind of improve situational awareness through the radar for players by allowing them to see, the elevation of enemies, whether they're above or below. I think there are a couple of drawbacks to that. The additional information definitely makes the radar a little bit more difficult to interpret. It can kind of increase the reliance on reading the radar as you're playing the game, which takes your eyes and focus off of the action. And then it opens up some situations where the information that's being conveyed can be reliable just based on the Spartan mobility. You know, if a player's jumping in the air relative to your position, it may look like he's upstairs, or, you know, maybe he's on your level when he's actually coming from below. So this is definitely something that we're continuing to evaluate and talk about, and it's something that we're really interested in hearing feedback from fans in the beta around, you know, improvements that they would like to see to the radar.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and also, how much does the new mobility suite, I mean, I'll probably play into that as well. With things like clamber, you know, I imagine it plays a big deal. Strong side also, I mean, love to get your take. I think you play the game more than anybody else at the studio, of how that radar works with kind of the Spartan abilities.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using an ability, you're going to show up on the radar. If you're sprinting around, you're going to show up on the radar. It's that classic, if you're crouching, you're not going to appear. But what we've also seen in past Halos is you can still hear people kind of moving around, even if they're crouching sometimes. But obviously there's so much chaos going on, you'd have to be really having a keen ear to hear someone crouching around. But yeah, I mean, you'll see if someone's above you, above the red circle of the enemy, you'll see an arrow kind of pointing up, letting you know that he's above you. And if there's an enemy below you, you'll see the arrow below the dot, letting you know the enemy is beneath you.
Yeah, and something I also thought about, if we're just talking about all the different things that are included, also maps and modes. I don't know if we talked about, Josh, earlier, just the ability for the community to vote on different elements within the beta for each phase, but it'll be cool to roll that as well. I think week 1, I don't know if we have announced the 2 weapons just yet, but it's going to be a weapon-based vote for that.
Yeah, we're going to be having a vote on the power weapon placement on regret. So there's a spot in regret towards the base of the map in the center, where there's a power weapon placement there. And so we'll be asking fans to vote between one of 2 different weapons that they would like to see placed on that map for week 2. And then for week 3, we're actually going to be showcasing 2 different maps that have been built using the Forge system for Halo 5 Guardians, and asking fans to vote between those 2 different maps and see which one of those maps they would like to see go into the game for that week. So I'm pretty excited to be able to offer fans not just a voice in terms of the feedback that they have on the beta as they play through, but also giving them a voice into how the beta plays and allowing them to play a part in how it unfolds.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and I think, yeah, players can learn more about that, I believe, if you head over to the Halo channel. Check out the Halo Bulletin, where Jay Frechette has all the info on how to vote each week throughout the beta. It'll also be cool to experiment with that, of course, once the game officially launches, to be able to bring players' feedback and opinion straight into the game through things like Halo Waypoint and the Halo channel, of course.
Yeah, that'll be some pretty cool stuff indeed. Very excited about different kind of options. Waiting for the boys at EG to get another game here in a little bit. They should be happening, but you know, and
we do have Flamesword playing. We could see what he is up to right now. If we want to, we could either jump on board. You know, we can break protocol here and jump on with the Optic Gaming crew, and we'll see what Flamesword of Optic Gaming is up to.
We could just jump into anyone's game.
You can. It's that easy.
See, that easy.
You can break the rules as much as you want.
That's right. We're rebels. We're rebels, folks. You know, again, just kind of like shed light on the Spectator tool. Very, very cool. You know, I guess, Josh, to talk about Spectator, when you guys were starting this and conceptualizing this idea, you know, for me, this is a huge, impactful thing, right? You know,
I saw the smile on your face.
Yeah, when I saw it, when Bravo showed it to me for the first time, man, I lit up like a kid at Christmas morning, man. You know, it was really cool. You know, do you understand the ramifications that this has, you know, for the future of Halo? This is some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely one of the things that was top of the list for the team when we started working on this game, something we wanted to tackle. And, you know, we still have big plans as far as where we want to take it by launch, and then, you know, continuing to improve it post-launch as well. I can see us just continuing to take feedback from the community to make this the best spectators feature it could possibly be. It's just, yeah, it's huge, you know, to be able to connect to any player that's playing the game, and then just move around the match. Essentially what you're doing is you're connecting to the dedicated server that the match is running on, and you know, with a delay, obviously. I think the delay is between 15 seconds and 60 seconds, depending on the server. But that's something that we can configure as well as a minimum delay. But you're attaching to that dedicated server, and you're essentially running a save film that is running in real time. So you have, you know, all the theater controls that you would expect from Halo that are available to you within that spectator mode. And like I said, we're looking at additional functionality that we want to bring online in the final game, and then continuing to rev that post-release as well.
Yeah, I was talking with Alex, and I was joking that Alex and I will be sending Quinn relentless emails on the little features that we want.
Oh, joking? I've already done that.
Oh, actually, I'm not surprised that you have.
No, I'm relentless, dude. Okay, this needs to be awesome, and I know that that's something that you guys want. So Quinn already has, you know, just I've bullet point at least. Like
I'll have to ask him if he's been reading any of these.
Probably not.
With the sheer amount that you send out.
Quinn would choose to ignore me any day of the week. Now, shout outs to Quinn.
But 13-6 is the score here now. Enable and Flamesword. If you want to pull up that scoreboard, who do we have in this game? Looks like Flamesword as well as Enable. Right here, jumping into matchmaking. They're off to an early lead. Actually, if you want to keep the scoreboard screen up, GoldenBoy, we can talk about everything that this screen has right now. Of course, as Josh said, basic implementation here, running sort of a live theater. But on this screen, you've got a lot of info, and info that as commentators, Alex, we've never had at our disposal, aside from the scoreboard and the kill count. So to have things like the kills, assists, and deaths, as well as which players are alive at any given time, of course, is exciting for us as we call the action. If you want to throw a quick rewind on that. As we call the action, to be able to dictate exactly what's going on the match and help players understand what's going on. When we're watching these high level of play, of course, that's super important.
Yeah, information is one of the most important things a caster, you know, can use to his disposal. You know, we have a good chunk of information as we, you know, commentate HCS events, you know, able to see all 8 screens, but I think one of the challenges that we've always had was being able to see who has been directly impacting the game during the game. Right? You know, you always kind of get like this idea, like, for example, you know, in our gaming, you got Hysteria, he went on an absolute tear. Oh, that ground pound
comes flying out of nowhere.
Yeah, he punished. He paid for that one dearly. But yeah, just to close that point out, you know, information is so important to have as a caster. So important to have, you know, for a viewer. Beautiful headshot by Enable, by the way. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, nice shot there. Enable putting on a show with that sniper rifle as we check out some more gameplay here on Empire. Josh, we'll jump into another question from Reddit. Actually, I think we answered a lot about this, actually. Goblin Spammer asked, why are Regret and Truth so similar? And he also asked about Empire and another map that he had seen. So I think we hit that one. But for anyone just joining us, of course, those are the remix versions of those maps.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a keen eye. He's picked up that they're, you know, remix versions of those maps, and so a lot of the geometry is similar or shared between them. But then we've gone and we've, you know, kind of taken steps to pretty drastically change the way that those maps flow by adding and changing and removing some of the geometry, and then changing up the look of the maps pretty substantially. And something that we're really happy with the way that they've turned out, but we're looking forward to getting feedback from the community, and I'm really actually curious to see, you know, how people feel between the 2 versions of the map, which one of those ends up being the community favorite. I know for me personally, like I love Truth, but Regret is probably my favorite map in the beta right now.
Yeah, it will be neat. Just taking a look at voting data, you know, because the maps are inspired by such similar geometry and architecture. It'll be interesting to see which certainly is the favorite out of the 2, and also, I mean, which is chosen for competitive play, right? GoldenBoy, when we look at tournament play, which the community kind of self-selects as the go-to tournament maps.
Yeah, you know, I remember the play session we had. Oh, there goes the ground pound. Missed it though. You know, Regret map itself was, you know, we played a super early version of it that, if I'm correct, actually looked substantially different from the version that is presently in the game, which is actually kind of cool. But in any case, though, it flowed nicely. It had a great, you know, just had a great kind of like, you know, good angles, great perspectives. I enjoyed that map a lot. I enjoyed Truth as well. I think, Josh, this is my feedback to you. Truth was just so darn dark. And I'm glad that you guys went to the drawing board with that and tweaked it.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was lit yet.
Yeah. I think that's what Quinn said. I think he was like, yeah, I don't think this map has been properly lit, so, you know, enjoy. And it was like, okay. And we're like running around the map, and it's like the dark of night. It was awesome, though. And actually, seeing Enable using the slide there, by the way. And Josh, I want to ask you about this because this is my favorite part of Halo 5. What was that?
He's sliding everywhere.
Yeah, I know. He's
reckless.
reckless. Speed was a big deal. It's a big deal for me. You know, the mobility options that you have in Halo 5, I think is great. You know, you implemented thruster pack. You know, you didn't just stop there. You put the you know, you put the slide into it as well. How important was that? It was speed for you, because you're looking at Enable just whiz through this map, making it seem so small, even though the map is, you know, a sizable map. I guess, you know, what were some of the ideas for that initially to kind of just like up the speed in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a huge focus on mobility. It was something that we actually really started talking about it in Halo 4, you know, that Spartan mobility was something that we wanted to bring into the fold as another pillar of the gameplay experience. And then we kind of embraced thrusters as something that would be sort of the thruster pack that's built into every Spartan's armor as the thing that would kind of enable a lot of these abilities. But yeah, keeping a really fast pace to the game, making sure that the base movement speed is high, that you have good acceleration on the strafe for the Spartan, so that you can have you know, really rewarding battles back and forth in 1v1s and other situations. But and then adding to that all of the Spartan abilities and new mobility options like clamber and slide and these things that really open up a lot of new ways to play the game and move around the environment. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a huge focus for our team. It's something that, as we've gone and designed the maps and built them, we've done so with those abilities in mind. And you can see, you know, as you see players moving through these maps, how they take advantage of a lot of the new mobility options.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see how that kind of evolves, not only through the weeks of the beta, of course, but when the final game drops as well.
Yep, and it seems like we had a Stomp Fest here, by the way. So I'm actually going to end up leaving it because I think, you know, Enable and Flamesword were just too good. They were just too good. Made the other team just abandon the game.
Yeah, it's cool to see, obviously, the players players like Enable and Flamesword who have been dominant for so many years, pick up the game right away and hop into matchmaking. Actually, when I was talking to you, Josh, at home, I remember we were talking about, you were asking, like, the players are just going to hop into matchmaking? We were like, yeah. We were like, some people might be getting crushed.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew that, I think, out the gate. Yeah, for sure.
This actually happens here in the studio when we're doing our play test. We have the pro team. They all band up and party together, and they go into matchmaking, and they're just absolutely wrecking people around the studio, you know, 50-3. And then, you know, they're nice enough to back out and go and try to find another match so that they don't ruin that person's day. But you get these like long threads out to the entire studio whenever we're doing one of these take-home tests, where people are like, "Can we please have pro team go and play with people their own skill?" It's like the skill pool is not large enough in the studio that they're going to find an equal match here. They're just that good. They're that far above almost every other player in the studio.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We've got about 15 minutes left on the show today, so I'm going to go through some more question shots. We can also jump into gameplay right now. I think we got, who are we on board with now?
We got our boys in EG.
All right,
back over to Evil
looks
G.
like Lunchbox right now playing with, and this is the full EG squad right now, I believe, with Towie, their coach, hopping in. So we have Towie, Lunchbox, Borg, and I think Snipe Down.
Yep.
Are those the 4? All right, they're playing now.
Right,
Josh, we'll get back into some of the questions.
And by the way, just want to give a shout out. They're actually playing Unishek and Above Infinity. So,
all right, yeah.
you know, some awesome you know, community members.
Yeah, got to give a shout out to Unishek. Part of several different communities, including reddit.com.
Yeah, he's actually one of the moderators there.
One of the mods over there.
He's
He also got a sneak peek at the game, so we're gonna have to check out Unishek's POV in a little while. I know he was one of the few people who got to take a press look at the game last month. So, but Josh, we'll jump back into some of the questions. Next one is from Reddit: is the old dual tube rocket launcher still in the game, or is the rocket-looking weapon we've seen in clips thus far a permanent replacement?
So I'm going to assume that that this is referring to the new rocket launcher design that we have, not the Hydra. So the Hydra is a brand new multiple launch rocket system that we have. This is a brand new weapon for the game that people have picked up and seen some of the footage from B-roll that we've released, and then it also is pictured in one of the images that is used for the game. So that's the Hydra. I'm assuming that he's not talking about the Hydra, but talking about the new design for the rocket launcher, which is a departure from the classic dual tube design. And today there's no intention to implement or ship the dual tube design. We have a new design for the rocket launcher that we're excited about, and hopefully players will learn to love that equally when they get a chance to play it in the beta.
Cool. Yeah, the same Reddit user also asks, will we? This is Cliffhanger 50, by the way. Will we see any vehicles in the beta?
Will we see any vehicles? Well, yeah, as I mentioned, I think earlier, the beta is really focused on that 4v4 infantry-based combat. So there's no vehicles that are included in the beta itself, but of course there will be vehicles included in the other multiplayer modes that ship as part of Halo 5 Guardians next year. And those are modes that we're excited to talk about. We're not talking about now, but we are excited to talk about some of the new larger modes that we have planned for Halo 5 Guardians. But one of the reasons we really wanted to focus on 4v4, pure infantry-based combat is to nail the foundation of the gameplay for Halo 5 Guardians, because this is kind of that core kernel of gameplay that is the underpinning for everything that you're going to experience within the game.
All right, cool. And then let's see, that the Cliffhanger 50 also wants to know.
He's got a lot of questions.
He has a ton of questions here. His last question is also vehicle related. Let's see, actually, no, the last two questions are I think we already answered what size the maps are in the beta. They're all mid-sized maps towards the smaller end of the spectrum. But will you be able to use abilities like ground pound with vehicles? How would that interact with something like a Warthog?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely use ground pound against a vehicle. Like, if the Warthog is driving below you, it's possible to try and time and land the ground pound on the vehicle. It's hard because vehicles move pretty fast, and it takes a little bit of luck and a little bit of anticipation to be able to pull it off. It's pretty satisfying if you can. And as far as what it does, it does a fair amount of damage. You can imagine that it gives a bit of a dent. So it's something that is fun if you can pull it off, but it's definitely hard to do.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the trick with ground pound, is that it is very situational, and it is something that we want to kind of be a big risk when the player decides to go for it. They're really risking a lot. They're risking their position because they're giving up their elevated spot on the map. And then they're putting themselves at risk if the other player is paying attention, where they can be gunned down before they can land it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's certainly no easy feat. I have enough trouble timing the ground pound with just a Spartan. I can't imagine with a Warthog flying across the map.
One thing I think is really interesting with ground pound, and this is something that Mike can maybe talk about, is like the way that players have been able to use it, not just to land the ability as an attack, but also as kind of another augmentation to mobility. I was seeing Ninja use it as a way to move around the map, which is interesting. And then, Mike, you did a bunch of stuff where you were trying to test for different exploits. And I think your first week here, you were able to get to some crazy spots on the map just by using it to kind of stall in midair.
Yeah. So that's what, when you go to ground pound, you have some hang time in the air. And you can control that hang time from a short time to an extended amount of time. And if you have a wall to clamber on, you can actually jump, thrust, and then go into ground pound mode, and that will kind of carry you through the air closer to the ledge or the wall that you want to clamber on. And yeah, when I first came here, there was some wild exploits where I was able to grenade, jump, and thrust, ground pound, hover, and make it outside of the map, behind everything. So you can never find me. And since then, obviously, those have been fixed and those aren't in the game. But yeah, it definitely helps. It kind of gives you a little bit of a boost up into the air, and you can make jumps that you wouldn't normally be able to make off of a regular jump. And then, like you said, you saw Ninja shooting across the map instead of running over there. He just ground pounded over there to get there even quicker.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask that, Strong Side. I mean, when I've had a little bit of time to experiment with ground pound and playing the beta with you guys, things like on both Truth and also on Regret. I mean, whether you're top tower or on the top pink side, on either of the maps, if you will, you can really use it to traverse like a great distance. So I feel like in a tense situation, 49-49, there's about we're about to see weapons drop. You see right there, and as that EG roster picks up another victory, 50-30. But when I could definitely see people using it as a way to traverse, like if there's a sniper rifle down across the map, or if the rockets are about to come up on their weapon pad, the players will actually use ground pound to cross a distance, which is cool to think about it being used outside of perhaps its primary role.
Yeah, a great example that could have happened on Truth right here is, say if a team was pushing under the base and we saw Lunchbox top of Pink Tower most of that game. Instead of sprinting or walking over there, he's able to just ground pound immediately to the front of the base and be there within a second, ready to assist his team. Yeah. So that's definitely something that's really cool.
Yeah, especially when you think of like scenarios with the kind of standoffish scenarios that we often see in Sanctuary Team Slayer and Lockout Team Slayer in both Halo 2 and Halo Anniversary, when there's a lot of sniper rifles in play and you want to quickly go across a gap, a doorway, right? It could be used in those areas. So it'll be cool to see over those next few weeks once the beta officially starts if players indeed start using that.
Yeah, movement options, never a bad thing in my opinion. I'm a big fan of just being able to take full advantage of whatever tools are made available to you on the map. Henceforth, why I enjoy things like, when I'm playing Breakout, and utilizing the slide with the thrust, right? I thought that was pretty cool. And I guess with the slide, Strong Side, how have you found yourself utilizing that when you're playing with the rest of the pro team? How's the slide kind of impacted your game style, your play style? Excuse me.
Shooting someone when they're sliding is incredibly difficult, especially if they're coming around a corner. Even while being the player that is doing the slide, it's hard for you to shoot as well. But if you can find that right situation to kind of surprise your opponent, to come flying around the corner, he's not going to be aiming down at the ground. He's going to be aiming up in the air. Yeah. So you can come flying and slide around that corner and kind of just get the upper hand by getting the first shot, or maybe even getting 2 shots on him before he can even hit you, just because they're not prepared for a Spartan to come sliding across the ground. They're prepared for someone to come sprinting or walking at regular high level. So that kind of gives you the jump on them.
Cool, yeah, and I think also just doing things like using the slide. We saw Enable doing it to get to the sniper rifle actually on Empire. Is another good use. But on the topic of abilities, this question is for both you, Josh, and Strong Side. What type of evolution have you seen just internally in the dev cycle with the abilities? What sort of things have needed to change? I mean, historically, when new features, of course, are added to any game, but especially Halo, there's a lot of iteration there. So what have been some kind of cool changes that you've seen in the gameplay for some of the new features?
Well, I mean, I think the one that we're working on right now, even as the beta is preparing to go live, is we're looking at changes to ground pound from a control standpoint on a couple of different fronts. Like, one is to ensure that it's not taking away the ability to crouch jump, because right now the the control is kind of overloaded, and it takes away from players' ability to do the Gandhi jump and stuff that you want to have available in the game. So that's one thing we're looking at. The other, is around that control, just making it feel a little bit more intuitive. I think we feel like the current implementation, as people will experience it in beta, is a little bit clumsy. It's not exactly where we want it to be. And so the team is already working on some ideas and thoughts around that. Across the game as a whole, we've gone through so much iteration and tuning and change, and another huge change to the game from the time where you came and played it for the first time side would have been the re-implementation of D-Scope.
Oh yeah, and to kind of take it off from there, D-Scope brought back in an extreme amount of competitiveness, because it takes a skill to be able to zoom back in against an enemy that's shooting you with a DMR or a battle rifle or what have you. It takes a skill set to be able to control your aimer and have that steadily aim right back onto your enemy. So you'll have these intense battles happen again, and we'll get in crazy battles in the pro team room where you'll just see Neighbor, Ghost, or Dursky, and myself just duking it out to the death, and it's so intense. Our hands are sweating, and the room is just, it's getting so heated. But that's what Halo is all about, and we're really happy that D-Scope is in the game and has brought back that extreme competitiveness. And to kind of touch on one of the other abilities, Sprint. So to kind of even out the playing field with Sprint and not have it be too overpowered, we've made it so that your shields don't come back if you're sprinting. And when I was watching a lot of the streams today, I noticed players would just keep sprinting, but their shields wouldn't come back. So that they're penalized for sprinting, and if they're weak, they need to wait for a short amount of time to get their shields back, and then they'll be able to sprint again. So that kind of balances out sprint, enabling it so people aren't just sprinting around the map constantly and having that wild escapability.
Yeah, it looks like, like you were saying, Sad, I think we haven't seen players yet embrace that new balance mechanic, so it'll be cool to see how over the beta that changes as well, right? Right now we're seeing players do quite a bit of sprinting, but when we start to see higher level competition playing against each other, I think players are going to need to be a lot more conscious of that fact. Actually, in this match, we're back on board with the Evil Geniuses squad, Lunch, Roy, Towie, and Snipedown. And they're once again playing against the guys over from Halo Gaff, Top Gun, and Biggie. So, but it looks like in this match, although it is the same match, I think EG has a little bit more of their lineup now, so they are winning by 21-11.
Yeah, EG, again, one of the best teams, to play Halo. It was a great snipe out of box, by the way. Yeah, I guess, nice shot.
It's like Lunchbox is warming up.
That was dirty. You got that snapshot there. That was disgusting. Yeah, well, so Strong Side, you had mentioned, and I guess I wanted to talk about this with you as well as you, Josh. We saw I had a chance to watch the first couple minutes of the sprint. I was on a flight, so the internet, not the best. But I did notice there was some segments there where you guys were actually showing real early version of Halo 5. And I thought, man, like, how crazy is that? Because we didn't see that, right? We saw an early portion of the game, but we had textures. There were some lighting things there, but for the most part, it was all pretty solid. But I saw some cool stuff with the Smart Link for the assault rifle. You guys went to the drawing board quite a bit with the assault rifle and how to make that feel like Halo. Could you, I guess, talk a bit about that and how the differences and how it's impacted gameplay?
Yeah, it's always interesting for people who haven't gone through the game development process before, and they see things that are extremely early and aren't sure how to react to them. And so then I think what you end up seeing is a lot of people in game development, a lot of studios don't tend to showcase those those early moments in game development.
Yeah.
But you know what we try to do is get to a place where we can be prototyping something as early as possible. And we talk about kind of dev goggles. You're going to have to put on your dev goggles to understand where the game is going and understand, okay, these are a bunch of things that are either just kind of hacked together and are really, really rough proof of concept on one mechanic or another.
Yeah.
And so some of that stuff that you're seeing in the sprint is really early stuff where we're taking, you know, an engine that is absolutely in flux, or in some cases you might even be seeing things that are in the old Halo 4 engine that we're just doing prototypes as a team to prove things out, and then they're getting kind of evolved over time.
Yeah.
With the Smart Scope system, we we specifically went down two parallel paths where we had functional prototyping that was in an engine, and we also had visual prototyping that was taking place offline, kind of try to set what the aesthetic feel for the experience would be. And then eventually what you're seeing here is something that's getting much more in the beta, is getting much more to achieving that target on both fronts. And that's just kind of the natural course of game development. It's very iterative, and everything goes through these different phases.
Very cool.
Oh,
Very cool.
Yeah, we've got looks like a few moments left in this match, and I think this is going to be one of our last games of the day. We'll run through more of the questions from Reddit. Shinjuku Garb asks, how does beta armor work in conjunction with the full game?
How does the beta armor work in conjunction with the full game? Well, so there's a couple of things there. Number one, in beta, we've got a bunch of armor that you can unlock through your progression as sort of Spartan rank goes up. You'll have different pieces of armor and helmets and visors that will become unlocked to you. But we also have some special exclusive unlocks that tie to achievements that are in the Master Chief Collection, as well as watching Halo Nightfall on the Halo channel. And those specific unlockables, which include armor and helmets that tie into those different experiences, those unlockables will actually carry forward from the beta to the game when it launches next year. So you'll be able to use those armor pieces, those helmets and armor sets within the beta, and then also have access to them when the game goes live next year.
Cool. Good deal. Yeah, we got. I think we're running just a few minutes over, so we'll finish up with just a few questions from Reddit. Bob X9000. Let's see. He already asked. We talked a little bit about the Spartan charge, but just in case Bob is watching or didn't catch it earlier, the question is, what exactly does the Spartan charge do? From the videos I've seen, it just looks like a regular melee, except that it goes into third person.
Well, so I mean, the Spartan charge carries a lot of your momentum forward when you're sprinting. So once you get up to a full sprint, you actually see the reticle change to indicate that you're now moving at full sprint speed. And at that point, if you execute a melee attack, it'll actually perform the Spartan charge. And the Spartan charge carries a distance forward, so it is a charging attack. If you hit your opponent with that from the front or the side, it'll actually pop their shields. As Side was talking about earlier, if you have someone who's weak, that's low health, you can actually finish them with that attack. But then also, if you're able to surprise an opponent and come at them from behind without them turning around, if you land that Spartan charge from the back, you'll actually kill them with a single hit. It's a one-hit kill.
Right. Yeah, in a one-hit melee. Cool. All right, and then let's see. This is the last question we have from Reddit. It's Scorchy Cots asks. Let's see. If a ground pound, or any Spartan ability for that matter, turns out to be hugely overpowered and any bit of a turnoff for the beta players, is 343 willing to change it after the beta?
Well, I mean, part of the reason that we're having the beta this early before launch is so that we have time to take feedback from the community and actually make meaningful changes. So, we're going to be listening closely to feedback from the beta, and then we're going to be taking that feedback and using it to make changes and improve the game between now and launch of next year. So, it's kind of open season for everybody that takes part in the beta. We're really looking forward to that feedback. And then as a team, we'll be kind of huddling and using that to fuel the work that we do between now and launch.
Cool. Yeah, I know. I mean, just on the community side, I of course looking forward to pouring through all the feedback and bringing it over to the Halo 5 team. And it's an exciting time, and I think, like you said, Josh, if you're going to be in the beta come December 29th, this is what we want to hear your feedback on. I think everything, everything from audio to UI to the gameplay features themselves and to the maps. I know everyone here, I think GoldenBoy and myself, and of course Josh and Strongside back home are going to be taking a look at what everyone has to think over the holidays. We're a few minutes over, so we want to thank everyone for joining us today for our first look. As a reminder, right now we just have about 2 days of the pre-beta stress testing going on. We're making sure that everything is ready for all of you who purchased the Master Chief Collection come the 29th. Excited for that to premiere just after the holiday and before the new year. If you still want to get in on the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta, just pick up the Master Chief Collection. That is your ticket in, and as Josh said, we're going to have a bunch of different modes and maps, so a lot more to come, and even a lot more than what you just saw right now over the next 2 days. We're just running very limited content, but the full beta has a lot of stuff inside that the team has been working on for quite some time, and we're excited to get feedback on every single asset and every single aspect. Excuse me. GoldenBoy, can't thank you enough for having us here today and putting on the show.
Yeah, very excited. For you guys to kind of join us here at the Twitch studio. If it's something you guys dig on the Halo side, the Halo community, let me know. You can tweet me at GoldenBoyFTW and at Brav. I mean, I'm sure we could find something cool to use this Twitch studio for Halo-related stuff. I'm sure that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and then that same aspect, of course, start sending the feedback over right away. As Josh said, we have a war room back at the studio where everyone is watching streams, keeping an eye on what players are seeing, any issues that arise, but also on player feedback and what we need to do with the game. So, let that start pouring in, and we're excited to start going through that. From us at 343, Alex, thank you so much for having.
One last thing.
I got
one last thing. We're gonna do something pretty cool. Okay, as you guys know, Twitch has a great feature called the host mode, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick a broadcaster that's playing Halo 5 right now.
Let's see, who should we go? Maybe
Snipe Down.
All right,
we're gonna go with Snipe Down. Andrew, make it happen.
Well, not yet. Once we go off.
Once we go off.
Yeah.
So stick around.
Don't go anywhere.
When the stream goes off, you'll see the awesome host mode pop up, and then you'll watch Snipe Down stream. Josh and Side, I want to thank you guys for joining us here at the Twitch studio. Bravo, go ahead and close it up, brother.
Yeah, like you said, Josh and Side, thank you guys so much. I know you guys have been crunching hard to get the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta out the door, and there's a few days left before it officially starts, so thank you for taking the time. I want to thank everyone on Reddit as well for submitting their questions. A great community over there. If you're not yet on the Halo subreddit, be sure to head to reddit.com/r/Halo. You are doing it wrong. So get over there. I try to post over there. I go there far too much. I find myself when I have an idle browser, I just start going to Reddit.
Oh, Reddit is bad. It's very bad for productivity. I'm on it all the time. I lurk the Reddit threads quite a bit.
Luckily I somewhat get paid to go on Reddit, so I'm okay in that. But I want to thank everyone who made today's show possible. Let us know what you think about the beta. And until then, I hope everyone has a great holiday. And we'll see you online on the beta starting December 29th. You guys have a good evening.
Peace out.